The bulldozer's engine roared to life at 6 a.m., its massive blade poised over 3 months of back-breaking work. Karen Martinez stood beside the operator, arms crossed, that familiar smirk plastered across her face. "Fill it in," she commanded, pointing at the crystal-clear water that reflected Marcus's horrified expression. What she didn't know was that her own daughter was already in the pool house, frantically live-streaming to her 50,000 followers. "You guys aren't going to believe what my psycho mom is about to do." The blade descended, and Marcus felt his world crumble, and he remembered the manila envelope hidden in his truck. Some secrets, when buried, have a way of clawing. Marcus Rivera wiped the sweat from his forehead with the back of his work glove, leaving a streak of concrete dust across his dark skin. The July sun beat down mercilessly on the half-finished pool excavation in his backyard, but he couldn't stop grinning. After 18 months of saving every penny from his construction job, he finally had enough to build his daughter Sophia's dream pool. "Daddy, can I really have my quinceañera party here?" Sophia asked, appearing at his elbow with 2 ice-cold bottles of water. At 14, she was already showing signs of the woman she'd become. Her mother's delicate features softened. By Marcus's gentle eyes, "Mia, by December, this will be the most beautiful pool in the neighborhood," Marcus said, accepting the water gratefully. "Your friends won't believe their eyes," Sophia beamed, her braces catching the sunlight. "I can't wait to post pictures. Everyone at school is going to be so jealous." Marcus had been planning this pool for 3 years, ever since Elena's death. His wife had always dreamed of having a backyard oasis where Sophia could host friends and family gatherings. Now, finally, he was making that dream a reality with his own hands, every tile and piece of rebar placed with love. The sound of expensive heels clicking against concrete interrupted his thoughts. Marcus looked up to see Karen Martinez approaching. From the pristine McMansion next door, her bleached blonde hair pulled back in a severe bun that seemed to stretch her already sharp features even tighter. "Marcus," she said, her voice carrying that particular tone that always made his jaw clench. "We need to talk." Sophia immediately stiffened beside him. At school, she'd had to endure Karen's daughter Ashley's constant bragging about their families' wealth, their European vacations, their designer everything. The contrast between the two households couldn't have been starker. Marcus's modest ranch-style home with its well-maintained but clearly older fixtures versus the Martinez fortress of marble and glass that dominated the corner lot. "Mrs. Martinez," Marcus replied carefully, setting down his tools. "What can I do for you?" Karen's eyes swept over the construction site with undisguised disdain. "This ... project of yours. I've been very patient, but enough is enough. The noise, the mess, the constant stream of delivery trucks, it's completely disrupting our quality of life." "I'm sorry for any inconvenience," Marcus said, though his tone had cooled several degrees. "I'm following all city regulations and working only during permitted hours." "Permitted hours don't mean much when you're starting at 7 in the morning, Karen snapped. "Some of us have important conference calls with international clients. Some of us run actual businesses from home." Sophia stepped forward, her young face flushed with indignation. "My dad works construction. He knows what he's doing, and he's not breaking any rules." Sophia, Marcus warned gently, but Karen had already turned her laser focus on the teenager. "Little girl, adults are talking," Karen said with a cold smile. "Perhaps you should go inside and let the grown-ups handle this." The dismissive tone hit Sophia like a physical blow. Marcus felt his temper flare, but he forced himself to remain calm. "Mrs. Martinez, I understand you're concerned, but I have every right to improve my property. I pulled all the proper permits, and I'm being as considerate as possible." Karen laughed, a harsh sound that made Sophia flinch. "You call this disaster considerate? The value of our entire neighborhood is going to plummet because of your little ... project." "It's not a project," Marcus said quietly, his voice carrying a warning edge. "It's a pool for my daughter, and it's going to be beautiful." Eyes narrowed. "We'll see about that." She turned on her heel and stalked back toward her house, but not before Marcus caught her muttering under her breath. "People like you always think you can just do whatever you want." Sophia's hand found his arm. "Daddy, what did she mean by people like you?" Marcus looked down at his daughter's worried face and felt his heart break a little. At 14, Sophia was just beginning to understand that the world wasn't always fair, that some people would judge them based on assumptions rather than actions. He'd hoped to shield her from that reality a little longer. "She's just unhappy, Mia," he said softly. "Some people don't like change." But as he watched Karen disappear into her house, Marcus had a sinking feeling that this was about much more than noise complaints or property values. He'd seen that look before, the same expression his high school guidance counselor had worn when she'd tried to steer him away from college prep classes. The same dismissive glance from the bank loan officer who'd initially refused his mortgage application. Over the next week, Marcus threw himself into the pool construction with renewed determination. He worked from dawn until dusk, his weathered hands moving with practiced precision as he laid rebar, mixed concrete, and installed plumbing. Every evening, Sophia would sit on the back porch doing homework while he worked, occasionally bringing him dinner or helping to clean up tools. The pool began to take shape, a graceful kidney, designed with a shallow end perfect for younger guests and a deep end where Sophia could practice her diving. Marcus had splurged on LED lighting and a small waterfall feature that would cascade from a stack of natural stones. It wasn't the most expensive pool in the world, but it was built with love, every detail carefully considered. "Mr. Rivera." Marcus looked up from the tile work he was installing around the pool's edge. A young man in a crisp city uniform stood at the gate, clipboard in hand. "I'm Jake Morrison, building inspector. I need to take a look at your pool construction." "Of course," Marcus said, wiping his hands on his jeans. "I wasn't expecting an inspection until next week, but I'm happy to show you around." Jake's expression was apologetic. "Yeah, we had a complaint filed. Someone reported that the construction might not be up to code." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "A complaint? From who?" "I can't say, but I need to do a thorough inspection. Do you have your permits handy?" For the next hour, Jake examined every aspect of Marcus's work with meticulous attention. He checked the electrical connections, measured the setbacks from property lines, tested the plumbing, and reviewed the structural integrity of the concrete work. Marcus followed him around anxiously, answering questions and providing documentation. Finally, Jake straightened up and made some notes on his clipboard. "Well, Mr. Rivera, I have to say this is some of the cleanest construction work I've seen in a long time. Everything is absolutely perfect. Better than code, actually." Marcus felt a wave of relief wash over him. "Thank you. I take pride in my work, I can tell." Whoever filed this complaint was either misinformed or Jake paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. "Well, let's just say some people file complaints for reasons that have nothing to do with building codes." As Jake left, Marcus noticed Karen Martinez standing in her upstairs window, watching the interaction with obvious interest. When their eyes met, she didn't look away or show any embarrassment at being caught spying. Instead, she simply stared at him with cold calculation before disappearing back into her house. That evening, Marcus sat on his back porch with a beer, watching the sunset reflect off the pool's still surface. The water was crystal clear, the tile work gleaming, the LED lights casting a soft blue glow that made the entire backyard feel magical. In 5 months, Sophia would be 15, and they'd celebrate with the quinceañera party of her dreams. "Daddy, it's so beautiful," Sophia said, settling into the chair beside him. "I can't believe you built this all by yourself." "Not by myself," Marcus corrected, putting an arm around her shoulders. "I had the best helper in the world." Sophia giggled, but then her expression grew serious. "Mrs. Martinez called the city on us, didn't she?" Marcus considered lying, but Sophia was too smart for that. "I think so, Mia, but the inspector said everything was perfect, so there's nothing to worry about." "She doesn't like us," Sophia said quietly. "Ashley told everyone at school that her mom thinks we're bringing down the neighborhood. She said we don't belong." Here, Marcus felt a familiar anger rise in his chest, but he forced it down. "Sophia, listen to me. We belong wherever we choose to build our lives. Your mother and I worked hard to buy this house, and we have every right to be here. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But what if she keeps causing problems?" "Then we'll handle them," Marcus said firmly. "One at a time, with dignity and grace, just like your mother would have wanted." As if summoned by their conversation, Karen Martinez appeared at the fence line between their properties. She stood there for a long moment, studying the completed pool with an expression that was impossible to read. "Beautiful evening." The first sign of trouble came at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Marcus jolted awake to the sound of his motion sensor floodlights clicking on, bathing the backyard in harsh white light. Through his bedroom window, he could see a figure moving. Near the pool equipment. "Sophia, stay in your room," he whispered, grabbing the baseball bat he kept beside his bed. His bare feet hit the cold, hard wood as he crept toward the back door. The figure was gone by the time he reached the patio, but the damage was obvious. The pool's filtration system had been vandalized, wires cut, pipes damaged, and a foul-smelling liquid poured into the pristine water. The crystal-clear surface now looked like a swamp, green and cloudy, with an oily film on top. "No, no, no," Marcus breathed, kneeling beside the ruined equipment. 3 weeks of careful chemical balancing destroyed in minutes. The repairs would cost at least $2,000 money he didn't have. Daddy Sophia appeared in the doorway, her hair messy from sleep. What happened? Marcus tried to block her view, but she'd already seen the pool. Her gasp of horror cut through him like a knife. "Who would do this?" she whispered. Marcus didn't answer, but his eyes automatically went to the Martinez house. The window was dark, but he could swear he saw a curtain twitch on the second floor. The next morning, Marcus called the police. Officer Janet Chen arrived within an hour, a no-nonsense woman in her 40s who took detailed notes and photographs. "Any idea who might have done this?" she asked, examining the cut wires. "I have suspicions," Marcus said carefully, "but no proof. Neighborhood disputes can get ugly," Officer Chen said. "You might want to consider installing security cameras." "I can't afford cameras right now. This is going to wipe out my savings." Officer Chen's expression softened. "I'm sorry, Mr. Rivera. Vandalism cases are tough without witnesses or video evidence. I'll file a report, but ... But nothing will happen," Marcus finished. After Officer Chen left, Marcus sat on his porch staring at the ruined pool. Sophia had left for school in tears, and he couldn't blame her. The Quinceañera was only 4 months away, and now they were back to square one. "Terrible shame about your pool." Marcus looked up to see Karen Martinez standing at the fence line, holding a cup of coffee. She was impeccably dressed despite the early hour, her makeup flawless and her blonde hair perfectly styled. "Yes, it is," Marcus said evenly. "I heard the police were here. Any idea who might have done such a thing?" There was something in her tone's subtle satisfaction that made Marcus's blood boil. "No, but I'm sure whoever did it will get what's coming to them." Karen's smile was razor-sharp. "I certainly hope so. This kind of behavior really brings down the whole neighborhood, don't you think?" Before Marcus could respond, she was gone, leaving him with the distinct impression that he'd just been threatened rather than offered sympathy. The next few days blurred together in a haze of insurance calls, contractor estimates, and Sophia's devastated tears. The vandalism had destroyed not just the equipment, but also contaminated the pool water so badly that it would need to be completely drained and refilled. The total cost, $3,200. "I'm sorry, Mr. Rivera," the insurance adjuster explained over the phone. "Vandalism isn't covered under your homeowner's policy unless you have specific additional coverage." Marcus hung up and put his head in his hands. Even if he worked overtime for the next 2 months, he'd barely have enough to cover the repairs, let alone the remaining pool features he'd planned. Sophia's Quinceañera was beginning to look impossible. "Daddy, maybe we should just forget about the pool," Sophia said that evening, finding him staring at the calculator and pile of bills on the kitchen table. "Absolutely not," Marcus said firmly. "This is your mother's dream, and mine. We're not giving up." But privately, Marcus was beginning to wonder if they had a choice. The vandalism had been precise, targeted. Whoever did it knew exactly how to cause maximum damage with minimum effort. It felt personal. The answer came the next morning when Marcus's phone rang during his lunch break at the construction site. "Mr. Rivera, this is Janet Chen with the police department. I wanted to let you know we caught your vandal." Marcus nearly dropped his sandwich. "You did? Who was it?" "A 17-year-old kid named Tyler Brooks. He was arrested last night for vandalizing another pool about 10 blocks from your house. When we searched his car, we found evidence linking him to your case too." "That's fantastic," Marcus said, relief flooding through him. "Will I get restitution?" "Well, here's the thing," Officer Chen said, her tone growing cautious. "Tyler's claiming he was hired to do it. Says someone paid him $500 to mess up your pool specifically. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Who hired him? That's what we're trying to find out. Tyler's scared, real scared. He's not giving up the name easily, but he did say something interesting. He said the person who hired him was a woman who knew a lot about your family, knew your daughter's name, when her birthday party was supposed to be, specific details about your pool construction. After hanging up, Marcus sat in his work truck, staring at nothing. Someone had deliberately targeted his family, had paid a teenager to destroy Sophia's dream. The methodical nature of it, the personal details it, all pointed to one person. That evening, Marcus was cleaning pool equipment when he heard raised voices from the Martinez house. Through the thin hedge that separated their properties, he could make out Karen's voice, sharp and angry. "You stupid girl. I told you to stay off social media. You can't control everything I do." The responding voice was younger, defiant Ashley, Karen's 16-year-old daughter. "I can and I will. Do you have any idea what you've put at risk by posting about how you hired Tyler to shut up?" Karen's voice was a shriek. "Don't you dare say another word." Marcus crept closer to the hedge, his heart pounding. Through a gap in the branches, he could see into the Martinez living room. Karen was standing over Ashley, who was slumped on their white leather couch, her face streaked with tears. "You delete that post right now," Karen hissed. "All of them, and if you ever breathe a word about this to anyone, I will make your life hell." "You already do?" Ashley whispered. Karen's hand moved so fast, Marcus barely saw it. The slap echoed through the evening air, and Ashley's head snapped to the side. "You ungrateful little brat," Karen snarled. "After everything I've done for you, everything I've sacrificed. Ashley stood up, her cheek bright red. "You mean like how you sacrificed Tyler? How you're sacrificing the Rivera family because you can't stand that they're happy?" "They don't belong here," Karen said coldly. "This neighborhood was perfect before they moved in with their loud music and their tacky decorations and their death or what, Mom." Their brown skin, the second slap, was even harder than the first. Ashley stumbled backward, her hand going to her face. "You will not speak to me like that," Karen said, her voice deadly quiet. "You will delete those posts. You will keep your mouth shut, and you will remember that everything we have depends on maintaining our reputation in this neighborhood. What about Tyler? He's going to jail because of you." "Tyler is a criminal who made his own choices," Karen said dismissively. "He can't prove anything." Marcus had heard enough. He carefully backed away from the hedge, his mind racing. Karen had hired Tyler to vandalize his pool, and now she was covering it up. But Ashley had posted something on social media, evidence that might still exist. Back in his house, Marcus found Sophia in her room, supposedly doing homework, but actually staring at her phone with a miserable expression. "Mia, can you help me with something?" he asked. "I need to find some social media posts from Ashley Martinez. Can you show me her profiles?" Sophia looked up with surprise. "Ashley's accounts? Why? I think she might have posted something that could help us figure out who vandalized the pool." Sophia's expression sharpened with interest. "Oh, I know all. Her accounts, she's always posting drama." She grabbed her laptop and pulled up Instagram. "Here, this is her main account." Marcus leaned over her shoulder as Sophia scrolled through Ashley's recent posts. Most were typical teenage content selfies, complaints about school, photos of expensive purchases. But then Sophia stopped. "Wait, Dad, look at this." She'd found a post from 3 days ago, a photo of Ashley in her bedroom, but the caption was, "What made Marcus's blood run cold? When your mom thinks she's so smart, but leaves evidence everywhere. Some people are about to get what they deserve. #karma, #justice, #mom, thinks she's single quotes SS lick." "There's more," Sophia said, scrolling through the comments. "Look at this thread." In the comments, Ashley had been more specific. She'd written, "Let's just say certain neighbors might want to check their security footage from last Tuesday night. My mom thinks she's untouchable, but Tyler's going to rat her out eventually." "Can you screenshot all of this?" Marcus asked. "Already on it," Sophia said, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "But, Dad, look, all these posts are from before she got arrested." She knew what was going to happen. Marcus felt a surge of hope mixed with righteous anger. Ashley had essentially confessed to her mother's crime on social media. It wasn't a smoking gun, but combined with Tyler's testimony, it might be enough. "Sophia, I need you to save everything you can find. Every post, every comment, every photo. Can you do that? Of course. I'm really good at this stuff. Sophia's eyes were bright with determination. Are we going to get Mr. Karen Martinez made bail at 6:23 a.m. on a Thursday morning, and by 7:15 a.m. she was standing in her driveway making phone calls. Marcus watched from his kitchen window as she paced back and forth, her voice carrying across the yard in sharp, angry bursts. I don't care what it costs, she was saying into her phone. I want the best lawyer money can buy. This is a setup, and I'm going to prove it. Sophia appeared beside Marcus, still in her pajamas, peering out the window. She's back already. Rich people don't stay in jail long, Marcus said grimly. But being arrested isn't the same as being convicted. We need to be careful. He had no idea how careful they'd need to be. The first sign of Karen's counterattack came 2 hours later. Marcus was getting ready for work when his phone rang, his boss, Dave Patterson, calling earlier than usual. Marcus, we need to talk. Dave, said his voice, tight with discomfort. Can you come in early today? Is everything okay? Just come in, please. Marcus found Dave in his office, looking like he'd aged 10 years overnight. On the desk, between them, was a manila folder and a cup of coffee that had gone cold. Marcus, sit down, Dave said, not meeting his eyes. I got a call this morning. From Karen Martinez. Marcus felt ice form in his stomach. What did she want? She wanted to discuss your character, Dave said carefully. She had some very specific concerns about the work you've been doing on her neighbor's properties. What kind of concerns? Dave opened the folder and pulled out a stack of photographs. Marcus's blood ran cold as he recognized his own backyard. But these weren't casual snapshots. These were professional quality surveillance photos taken with a telephoto lens over several weeks. They showed him working on the pool, Sophia helping him, even private moments on their back porch. She's been watching us, Marcus breathed. She claims these photos show safety violations, Dave said. Improper electrical work, unsecured materials, child labor law violations. That's bullshit, and you know it, Marcus said, his voice rising. Sophia just handed me tools sometimes, and my electrical work passed inspection. I know, Dave said, holding up his hands. But Marcus, she's also claiming that you've been using company equipment for personal projects. She says you took supplies from our job sites. Marcus stared at his boss in disbelief. Dave, you know me. I've worked for you for 8 years. I've never stolen so much as a nail. I know that, Dave said miserably. But she's got receipts, Marcus. Invoices that show discrepancies in our supply orders. She's claiming you've been skimming materials. For months. Those are fabricated, Marcus said, his voice deadly quiet. She's setting me up, maybe. But she's threatening to file a complaint with the licensing board and the district attorney. She says if we don't take action, she'll go public with everything. She's got connections at the newspaper, the city council. So you're firing me? I'm putting you on unpaid leave while we investigate, Dave said, not meeting his eyes. I'm sorry, Marcus. I really am. But I can't risk the company's reputation. Marcus stood up slowly, his hands shaking with rage. 8 years, Dave. 8 years of perfect work, of overtime, of covering for other guys when they screwed up. And you're going to throw that away because some rich woman made a phone call? It's not forever, Dave said desperately. Once this blows over, I'll remember who stood by me and who didn't, Marcus said, walking toward the door. And so will everyone else. The drive home was a blur of anger and panic. Without his job, Marcus couldn't afford the mortgage, let alone Sophia's quinceañera. Karen had struck at the heart of everything he'd built, and she'd done it with surgical precision. Sophia was waiting for him when he got home, her face pale with worry. Dad, something's wrong at school, she said before he could even tell her. About losing his job, Ashley Martinez is telling everyone that you're a criminal. She's saying, you stole money to build the pool. Marcus felt his world tilt. What exactly is she saying? That you've been stealing from your company for months? That the police are going to arrest you? That we're going to lose our house? Sophia's voice broke. Dad, is it true? No, baby, it's not true. Marcus pulled her into his arms, feeling her trembling against his chest. Mrs. Martinez is lying. She's trying to hurt us because she got in trouble. But everyone believes her, Sophia whispered. Even my friends are acting weird around me. And Mrs. Patterson called the school. She said I can't babysit for them anymore because of family circumstances. Marcus closed his eyes, feeling the full weight of Karen's strategy. She wasn't just attacking him, she was systematically destroying their reputation, their relationships, their entire support system. "We're going to fight this," he said firmly. "We're going to prove she's lying." But privately, Marcus was beginning to understand how David felt facing Goliath. Karen had resources, connections, and a ruthless intelligence that he'd underestimated. She was playing a game he didn't even know the rules to. The next morning brought fresh hell. Marcus woke to find his truck's tires slashed and the word thief spray-painted across his driveway. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the letter taped to his front door. "Mr. Rivera," it read in elegant handwriting, "by now, you're beginning to understand the scope of your situation. This is what happens when people forget their place. You have 30 days to sell your house and leave the neighborhood. If you don't, things will get much worse for you and your daughter. This is not a negotiation." It was unsigned, but Marcus recognized the expensive stationery, the same kind Karen used for her HOA letters. "Dad, what's that?" Sophia asked, appearing in the doorway. Marcus quickly folded the letter and put it in his pocket. "Nothing important. Why don't you get ready for school?" But Sophia had already seen the graffiti on the driveway. Her face crumpled, and she ran back into the house in tears. Marcus spent the morning cleaning the driveway and calling tire shops, using money from their emergency fund that was rapidly dwindling. Every dollar spent felt like a small victory for Karen, another step toward the goal she'd outlined in her letter. The phone rang while he was pressure washing the last of the paint. "Marcus, it's Janet Chen. We need to talk about the new allegations against you. Karen Martinez has filed a complaint claiming you threatened her and her daughter. She's also provided evidence of theft and fraud." Marcus felt the ground shift beneath his feet. "Officer Chen, you know that's not true." "I know what I think," Officer Chen said carefully, "but I also know that wealthy people with good lawyers can make life very difficult for people like you and me. She's demanding that we investigate these theft allegations. And are you?" "I have too. But Marcus, I want you to know I've seen this playbook before. Wealthy defendants often try to flip the script, make themselves look like the victim. Just ... Be careful, and maybe consider getting a lawyer yourself." After hanging up, Marcus sat in his driveway staring at his house. For the first time since Elena's death, he felt truly hopeless. Karen had turned his arrest of her into a weapon against him, and she was using the system itself to destroy his life. That evening, Marcus was reviewing his dwindling bank account. When Sophia knocked on his bedroom door, "Dad, can I show you something?" She came in carrying her laptop, her face grim with determination. "I've been doing research on Mrs. Martinez. Look what I found." On the screen was a news article from 5 years ago. Local woman accused of insurance fraud in pool accident case. The accompanying photo showed a younger Karen Martinez leaving a courthouse. The article, she claimed her old pool was damaged by a contractor's negligence. She sued for $50,000, but the contractor fought back. They found evidence that she'd damaged the pool herself and filed fraudulent insurance claims. Marcus leaned forward, his pulse quickening. What happened to the case? It was settled out of court. But look at this. Sophia clicked to another tab. I found the contractor's Yelp page. Look at his reviews from that time period. The reviews painted a picture of a small business owner destroyed by Karen's false accusations. Customer after customer had written about hearing rumors and concerns about his work. His business had folded within 6 months. "She's done this before," Marcus said quietly. "This is her pattern." "There's more," Sophia said, her voice excited. "I found 3 other cases where she's sued contractors or neighbors. Always the same. Story: she makes complaints, files lawsuits, then settles when the other side can't afford to fight anymore." Marcus felt something like hope stirring in his chest. "Sophia, this is incredible. But how did you find all this?" "I'm good at research," she said proudly, "and I know how to use search engines better than most adults. But Dad, there's something else, something that might help us even more." She pulled up a social media profile, not Ashley's this time, but Karen's own Facebook page. The posts were mostly the usual suburban content, but Sophia had found something. interesting buried in the photos. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a picture from 3 months ago. "This is from Karen's garden party. See that man in the background, talking to her?" Marcus squinted at the photo. The man was middle-aged, wearing an expensive suit, and he was handing Karen an envelope. "That's Tyler's uncle Sophia," said triumphantly. I looked him up. His name is Robe.